focused on the Big 12 Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody. Josh Neighbors here on the Locked On Big 12 podcast. It is October 28th, 2021. Robbie Triano is joining us. Robbie, I said the date because if anybody gets mad about the lines not being reflective, the actual lines, it's because we're recording this a day early. But hello, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm noticing one thing. I watch your stuff. Each time you wear a different Big 12 shirt. If the people of Locked On Big 12, the fans on YouTube do not understand this, you need to pay attention. Josh reps all of your teams. When you say, no, he hates our teams, no, he loves your team. He loves them.
It started because somebody was like, why are you wearing a Virginia Tech shirt on this show? Which is fair. And then I've been trying to do better about it. And then I had Dan Dockich on last week, and he was wearing Indiana, and I was once again wearing Virginia Tech. So I was like, all right, we have to get all the teams so we can cut this out. So today is Baylor. Kansas State came in. Houston came in. So the only three teams I don't have right now, Robbie, are Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. Damn. And I have Oklahoma and Texas for obvious reasons. And I've said before, I'm wavering on Kansas because I am a University of Missouri graduate, but also I have been very supportive of Kansas football this year. A lot of people have. So I find myself rooting for them. I'll be honest, in the last month, I've actually watched more Kansas football than I have watched Missouri football. So
my God,
maybe a Kansas football shirt might actually be the route for me.
I mean, in terms of rooting interest, I understand if you can't wear that. Like, I will never wear a Michigan shirt in my life as a Michigan State fan. So I understand. But wow, more Kansas football than Missouri.
I will do. I think I might get a Kansas football shirt because number one, football and basketball. Basketball is the big rivalry for Missouri and Kansas. They're actually starting to play again this year. Number two, I think I can find a discounted Kansas football shirt. I think the price should be good on those. All right, so we've got the Big 12 games to break down this weekend. There are 5 of them, so it's nice that we finally have a full slate here. Before we do it, Robbie, we're going to take care of a little bit of podcast business. Talk about the friends who sponsor this show. Today's show is brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's is a great place not just to get a tasty meal, but it's a place where people congregate. It's tasty, it's affordable, it's obviously nice and clean if you go in there, whether it be Wi-Fi or French fries or McFlurries, like whatever you need. All 3 of those things you can find at McDonald's. So win or lose, it's a place where teammates, competitors, the home team, the away team, they can all come to recharge. I will say many of my trips to college football games, the day either starts or ends with a trip to McDonald's. Happy, sad, indifferent, whatever, McDonald's is the place to be. So a big thanks to our friends at McDonald's for always being there. You guys know the deal. I'm loving it. That was weak, but you guys know the deal. All right, let's get into the games today that we've got. It's weak as hell. All right, so first game's up. It is 11 a.m. on ABC. Texas at number 19, Baylor. Right here. Baylor, the Bears, 3-point favorites. Robbie, this is the game I'm having the most trouble with because there is a big part of me that does not believe Texas is going to lose, 3 games to the top 3 teams of the conference, right? It's tough for me to see them losing to Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Baylor, then maybe also to Iowa State. I feel like they're going to catch one of those teams. On the flip side of that, Texas, to me, I don't think 2 weeks is enough to address the problem for them, is that they fade late in football games. And I think another version of a team that's very good at executing, taking care of business, doing what they're supposed to do, save 1 game this year, and playing tough physical football has been the Baylor Bears. So I'm trying to square those 2 thoughts in my head right now as I think about this game. What say you?
I agree with that as well. And the one thing that we've seen from Texas in the fourth quarter, like you're talking about, they just kind of lose their gas. All gas, no brakes. Well, I think they kind of spend their gas a little bit too early. But the thing about Baylor is they're a physical group. I think on offense, they are a physical running group. Abram Smith has been one of the best running backs in the conference. I think everyone just seems to forget when they list Bijan Robinson or Zach Evans or Deuce Vaughn. I feel like his name has been lost a lot this year. And I'm looking forward to that fourth quarter. Can Texas sustain it? For me, I don't think they can so far. They are coming off the bye. but I think Baylor's a really, really physical group, and I think they're just going to wear them down as this game goes on. I love the Jeff Grime offense this year, but this really is the first big test for Baylor this year. Yes, they played Oklahoma State and they lost, and that was a really good defense. I would not consider Texas's defense right now on par, even close to Oklahoma State. So I'm expecting a little bit more of a high-scoring affair. That line, though, I know Baylor's at home, but three, I think like by the time this comes, so I'm sorry if for the people who are watching this on Friday or maybe Saturday morning, I think that line's going to shift to be even 1.5 for Baylor. I think a lot of people in Texas are going to put money on that. But right now, I think Baylor's legit. I don't think Texas has shown they can hang for fourth quarters. Baylor has the defense to stop Texas and Bijan Robinson and Casey Thompson this year. So I'm leaning more to Baylor on the side, even though I believe Texas has the talent.
Yes, and that's the big question is going to be that fourth quarter, and Texas does. Now, here's the thing, what we can say about Texas. Like, against teams with lesser talent, they have been better, right? UL is a good team, but has lesser talent. They end up beating, they handle ULL. Arkansas, a step up in talent from their first week and step up in athleticism, pushes Texas around. Oklahoma, here's the thing about Texas, like you mentioned it, they're shot out of a cannon. They are rocking and rolling early in games. They were rocking and rolling against Oklahoma. They were up, they got off to a really good start against Oklahoma State. They are the fighter that is, if you're boxing fans, first 4 rounds, if you're the opponent, you're staying at distance, right? You're staying away from them. That right hand's powerful, could land a knockout punch. But you see, like, they had that drive that was a pick 6 against Oklahoma State. Like, they had a chance to go up, was it 18, like almost 20 in that game? Missed that opportunity, and then things turned for them. And that, I know our colleague Gabe Eicher says he can't get the Oklahoma State game out of his head. Well, I can't get the Oklahoma State Baylor game. I'm saying I can't get Texas fading late out of my head. The only teams they finished strong against, TCU, they finished very strong against, and we know that TCU is pretty fraudulent now, not a very good football team. Texas Tech, they didn't have to finish in that game, right? UL, they did finish well, but there aren't many examples of them against really good competition finishing well. And this game's a 50-50 game to me. That's why it's, Baylor. If this was a neutral field, it'd probably be Texas by 1 or 2. If this was in Texas, I feel like it'd be probably 4 or 5 favor for the Longhorns. So I'm going to roll with Baylor. I don't feel great about it. I don't feel great about this, but for the sake of, keeping with my pick earlier in the year, I think Texas is going to hit their under on wins. I think they end up around 7 is where they finish up this year. And I actually don't think that's like the worst thing in the world. And I know fans there will freak out if they're 7-5, but sometimes these things do take a little bit of time. I think this team's got to learn. And I think this week Baylor's a really good football team too. Like, they're a more complete, better team than Texas is. They finish games, they finish drives, they get big stops. I'm going to go with the team that I trust more as opposed to the team that's got more talent.
Yeah, I think one thing that will help Baylor a lot is Texas is not very good at getting to the quarterback. And if they do, Gary Bohannon has shown he can move around that pocket. He can run. I think he's a very nimble type of player. He has the arm. I think Baylor's really going to show up here because Texas has not shown to be able to get through that. Baylor's offensive line has improved this season. And I think if Baylor really wants to show it to them, I think they need to have long drives. I think they need to burn that clock on offense, and I think they just need to wear that down because Baylor's defense is good, but I really do believe Texas is a top 3 offense in this league. I think they are fantastic. So if they can hold Texas in the first half to not have that shot out of a cannon that you're talking about, I really like Baylor this year. And it makes me think, like, Baylor, when it comes to the hierarchy, if they were to win this game, where do they rank in the conference? In terms of, like, I know record-wise they'd be, like, number 2. But it's interesting to be like, if Baylor wins this game, I think we finally have to be like, this team can actually win the Big 12 conference. I think this is a game where it's like they can totally do it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the fact that they put away BYU the way they did, right? They're able to kind of, and BYU's a fine team. I think they're they've been overrated this year, obviously, but they took care of business. Like, that showed that, yeah, we're a lot better than them. We are a better football team than them. We're putting some distance. And I think that like Texas defense cannot put Baylor in the situations that Oklahoma State's defense did. It's just not, they don't have that. It's not the characteristics of their defense. So I'm with you on this. I'm going to roll with Baylor. And yeah, I mean, I feel like Baylor might be the team best equipped actually to beat Oklahoma. Like I think with what they have, their efficiency, and they have the ability to do a bit better job of what Kansas did last week, holding the football, right? But they've got, as opposed to Jason Bean, who was really nice, they've got one of the more efficient offenses, and they got a good offensive line, and they've got good receivers, and they've got a really, couple really good running backs. They're better equipped to kind of do what Kansas did to Oklahoma. So I think Baylor keeps rolling, and I'm this kind of does have not some Matt Rule vibes, but like this Baylor team, they kind of have the right makeup to beat a team like an Oklahoma too.
100% too. And one thing that I'm looking forward to, Josh Thompson, cornerback from Texas, he said something that bulletin board material, things that every coach wants to be. I mean, this is one thing that if I'm just expecting Baylor to be extremely rowdy in this home environment. Longhorn senior Josh Thompson rated playing at Baylor a 3 out of 10. A 3 out of 10. Dude, that's the most bulletin board material you can give a fan base, give a team that in this type of environment at Baylor. I mean, Josh Thompson, you just fed. I mean, the Baylor marketing department is thank you.
Yeah, and that place is going to be packed. That place can be packed. It's a beautiful stadium.
People at Baylor hate Texas. Absolutely hate them. And the fact that he's adding that, okay. Come on, dude.
There's plenty of juice there for that. All right, let's move on to the next game. 1:00 on the Plus. Have you ever understood why ESPN lists the games as ESPN Plus / Big 12? Big 12 is not a channel. I don't understand why they do that.
Yeah, we don't. It's more like the Big 12 now, but it's not like you go to the Big. It's interesting.
The website you can't go to the Big. Yeah, exactly. So 1:00 on the Plus. Number 22 Iowa State at West Virginia. Robbie, now West Virginia's feeling good about themselves. They got a big win against TCU. They're 3-4. They've got a chance to go to 500 if they get this win. Here's the problem, though. The last 3 times these teams have met, Iowa State has outscored them by a combined score of 110-34. They have beat that ass the last 3 years. Nothing's going to change here. Iowa State is running on all cylinders. 7 to me is not enough. While this West Virginia defense has been decent at times, they got some. They did a great job in the second half last week, and it's been a very good TCU offense. West Virginia, I mean, whatever their team total is this week, I'm going under because their offense last week against a very good, a very bad TCU defense, they got 9 points in the second half, and they were moving the ball at will. They weren't getting touchdowns. They couldn't really put the stamp on that game like they should have been able to. It's because that offense is limited, and I know they're going to have some confidence coming to this week, but that Iowa State defense is way too good. And this Iowa State offense right now is doing a great job taking care of the football and making the plays when necessary. And West Virginia is a decent defense, but they've had some times they've given it up a little bit.
Yeah. If West Virginia wants to win this game, they have to pass the ball. Do I trust Jared Dagey? No, not at all. I think Letty Brown had an awesome performance last week. But when it comes to, besides Kansas, the 2 teams in this conference, I'm just oh my God, I hate watching this. It's West Virginia and it's TCU. TCU's defense is just awful. I can throw Texas Tech in there right now, but no. But West Virginia has just been so underperforming this entire year. And I feel like Iowa State right now is reaching their powers like they do every single year. They're finally starting to get it all together. The thing that I'm looking forward to, this is what, a 2 p.m. kickoff? 2 p.m. Eastern?
Yes.
On Halloween weekend? If it was a noon kickoff, that's when the fans are still waking up. This is enough time for the fans in Morgantown to get some drinks in them. That's a rowdy environment. Halloween weekend. That's the only thing I'm looking forward to cover. But Iowa State, I think, is reaching everything they want to do this year, and they are steamrolling right now. I think they are on the warpath right now, and West Virginia is going to be a casualty.
Yeah, they're in the way. And one quick stat to illustrate this. West Virginia's got the second worst scoring offense in the conference. They average 20.5 points per game. Iowa State has the best scoring defense in the conference. They allow 19.8 points per game. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. That's all I can say for that one. All right, this one's pretty interesting. 2:30 on the ABC. Texas Tech at number 4 Oklahoma, 19.5-point spread. This game is interesting for a few reasons. Obviously, the Matt Wells thing has come up, and let's start there. I've given my take on this across the network, across Locked On, and I want to give this piece to you, Robbie, because you've heard it. Like, a lot of the people we talked to have been like, this was pulling the plug too early, and they didn't like it, and there's been a whole lot of defense of Matt Wells. Matt Wells, everybody loves him. Everybody loves Matt Wells, the guy. Everybody does love him. But the Jordan Love season really helped him get hired at Texas Tech. And during his time at Texas Tech, Robbie, can you give me your favorite Matt Wells win, the big one? Can you give me one that you really liked, you really loved?
Yeah.
There haven't been many big ones.
Well, that one against Texas, no, that didn't happen. Well, that one against Oklahoma, no, that didn't happen either. Who did he beat? His
Houston.
First year he beat Kansas.
Houston this year.
His first year he beat Kansas, right? Oh no, he didn't beat Kansas his first year. Oh, okay. When Les Miles was the coach. So here's my analogy of it. Like, imagine Texas Tech is like this computer, this busted down computer. Okay. And it's you think, oh, I got this new thing and it's gonna work. Well, you bought it off, like, I don't know, Craigslist. You bought this computer off Craigslist. Okay. And it's chugging along, and you see it's going to fail. Kirby Hocutt saw this thing was going to fail after year 2. He should have just unplugged the plug then and be like, let's just get a new computer. Let's just do this. As soon as he saw the computer starting to work, he just pulled the plug. He was like, you know what? No, it's going to fail. It's going to fail. This computer's going to fail. And it's just like, it doesn't make sense if you're going to fire this coach halfway, or if he had a leash, or if he lost one more game to Kansas State. That's when you're like, all right, over. Kirby Hocutt. Just cut the man. Cut the man after year 2 if you really didn't see it. If the whole year, every single person who is covering the Big 12 knows Matt Wells is on this leash, you were saying it out loud, and you just pull him like this. Why? Why put this in this situation, especially when he's succeeding? Because if he won too much, then you have to keep him. So it makes no sense what they were doing with this. If just cut him loose. I think that it makes no sense. It makes no sense to me. I feel bad for Matt Wells, but he didn't win. He did not win at Texas Tech. It's a very hard place to win. I understand. I've never been inside Lubbock, Texas, but every time I hear someone say Lubbock, they go, ugh, which is not a great sign to hear. And it's impossible to win. If you wanted him for long-term, keep him there, and don't put, hey, you have to win this amount of games or you're on a short leash. I don't understand why you only get 3 years. Just cut the guy if you don't believe in him. That's where I don't understand. And listening to that press conference, because we had to cover it on Big 12 radio, it sounded like Kirby Hocutt didn't really have a lot to say of the reasons why. And it makes me think that he did not want to make this move at all. It makes me think that he was kind of left to be the guy who took all the shots from the fans. But I really think it was a higher-up move, because that was a Kirby Hocutt hire. And it seems like he didn't really have a lot of answers besides, we were too inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
That's a decision you make in the offseason. It seems like this was a decision that it doesn't make sense. And Texas Tech, you leave me puzzling. I understand why he's gone, but it should have been earlier.
I don't have a problem. Yeah. It reminds me of Texas last year, right? Remember they changed both coordinators under Tom Herman. It's like, if you're going to let Tom Herman change both coordinators, offense and defense, and be like, this is it. This is the hot seat year. Like, that wholesale changes like that should be wholesale changes. The head man too. And that's why when Sonny Cumbie got brought in, Robbie, I think a lot of people, I said this before the year, I was like, I would not be shocked that at some point in time, Sonny Cumbie ends up the head coach of Texas Tech, whether it's an interim capacity or they eventually, whatever it is, eventually they make him full-time, whatever. That felt like something, because David Yost was Matt Wells' guy. They fire him. They bring in Sonny Cumbie. Remember there was that one day of kind of radio silence where we didn't know what the move was going to be? Mm-hmm. You're exactly right. They should have pulled the trigger a longer time ago. Now, here's the problem. What you're saying is right. It makes it kind of weird that they do it now. But last year, think about the Texas situation. We had Tom Herman coaching the team, and just open speculation about all kinds of people. Urban Meyer, right? All the, that part gets weird. And like Virginia Tech, everybody's asking why Justin Fuente still has his job. They just lost to Syracuse at home. So that's where I'm actually okay with it. Like, yes, they should have done this beforehand, but am I super mad about them doing it now? No. Was a press conference a good look? Also no. So I think it can be both. Like, I think there are people who are like, this is ridiculous. No, the guy didn't win. They blew a 14-point lead at home against Kansas State. Pull the plug. Now, don't give some half-assed press conference answer about it, right? Like, if you're the AD, you can be like, all right, if you're going to send me out there, then what am I going to go and say to them? What am I going to say about why we're doing this? You know, You got to be better with that. The last thing I want to mention about Lubbock, Texas is this. Chris Beard built a basketball powerhouse. Basketball in Lubbock, Texas. They were a DeAndre Hunter corner three away from being the national champions in basketball. If you can build that, you can build a consistent bowl-winning team in Lubbock, Texas. It is Texas. I've heard a whole lot of, Lubbock, yuck, and I get that. I get it. I get how far away it is from everything. Mike Leach did it. Like, I know he's an outsider type guy, but the principles are pretty Texas, right? Spread it out, get it to your playmakers, all those kinds of things. There are available options to make that job a 6 to 7 win team every single year and the chance to go for 8 and 9 wins on the occasion. That Texas Tech can be that. They can. Like, if you flip a couple games in Matt Wells' era, they go the other way, they're a 6-win team at certain points. The problem was he wasn't getting it done. So that's the problem I have is that, I don't think Texas Tech has handled this perfectly. I don't mind them pulling the trigger on it at the time. And I think as long as they're getting the move on the options out there, because I think they might believe that there is a more robust market for some of their targets, it's fine with me as long as they're getting actual move on it.
The point that I find we can have a conversation on this. The point that I find intriguing, they want a Texas guy. They want this Texas person to be in there. What program in Texas has won a national championship recently? Even more. What program in Texas has won a conference championship recently? None. Oh, we want a Texas coach so we can keep the kids in Texas. Well, most of the time, all these kids are going to the SEC. You want these kids to stay in Texas. What Texas Tech should do is get a coach that's really good at the transfer portal. And I think at some points, Matt Wells was good at that. I just think in terms of coaching on the field, he was not very good. Do they have the talent? No, they have some star players. Eric Guzikama is good. Saraja Thompson is good. They have some good quarterback players. They've done some good things on the transfer portal. I just think they need an actual coach. So when it comes to we need this Texas guy, it's like, why? Why? Oh, well, we want to keep the kids in Texas, but they're all leaving. You're not going to beat the SEC.
It'd have to be the right Texas guy, right? Like, right. That's why Jeff Traylor makes so much sense. Is because the guy was a high school coach in Texas forever. His staff are all high school, former head coaches in Texas at the high school level too. He understands what Lubbock, Texas is. He understands how to recruit to a place like that. And that's why I would say, look, I would want to do a Jeff Traylor before I did a Sonny Dykes. Like, yes, the Texas guy matters, but it can't just be any Texas guy. Now,
agreed.
The transfer thing you said is interesting because, like, Jake Spovital at Texas Tech Texas State is doing he's doing what you said, but like to way too far of a degree, right? He's not even recruiting Texas. He's getting all transfers. There is a perfect balance of the transfer guys and of the Texas kids. Now, it seemed like Matt Wells maybe was finding that balance, but the results on the field weren't manifesting. I feel like Jeff Traylor is the kind of guy where he's got that balance like that because he knows it so well, right? He understands that balance. He's a Texas guy, so he didn't have to learn the ropes of Texas like Matt Wells had to do. I think that's where for me it's like yes, the Texas guy makes sense. It's about getting the right Texas guy.
I agreed. Like I always think it's funny, like at University of Michigan, we want a Michigan man.
Right.
It's like, well, in the past 2 decades, there has been no winning in Michigan. So what Michigan man do you really want? Because there hasn't been a whole lot of winning there. So why do you want someone that is just a loser? So when it comes to like some people in Texas, we want a Texas guy. Like what program in Texas has been really successful this decade? And that's where I'm just like, I understand Jeff Traylor because he's actually winning. Texas Tech needs to get a winner. Like 100%, right. You need a winner. And he's doing it this year. So I agree with that.
All right. One more word from our sponsors here. We'll actually pick the game after we do this. BetOnline.ag. They have provided all of the spreads that you're seeing right now. You're going to see the rest of the show. So we thank BetOnline.ag for that. New interface as well. You can go on your phone. You can go on your laptop, your computer, desktop, whatever it is. You can go and sign up at betonline.ag today. Use the promo code Locked On. That's LOCKEDON. Locked On to receive a 50% deposit bonus from basketball, football, baseball, postseason baseball obviously happening right now, NHL, boxing, UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers for 2021 at betonline.ag. BetOnline is where the game starts. Also, our friends at Built Bar. Go to built.com today. That's built.com to check out all the available flavors. They've got coconut, raspberry, mint brownie, coconut almond, salted caramel, double chocolate, and cherry bar chia. Go there right now. Once again, built.com, promo code LOCKED15, 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 and you'll get 15% off today. Once again, that's built.com. All right, to the game itself, Robbie. The Sooners, do we think they rally? Do you think they rally in a big way? I think it's tough to change coaches and then go to play Oklahoma after a bad week, and they're going to be mad.
Yeah, that's like the worst possible outcome for Texas Tech. There's two outcomes. Either they get blown out because they're like, why did you just fire the coach that we all believed in and we all got recruited to? Or they compete. They're hungry. They're like, yo, we want to prove that we actually want to. Like, so this is the two outcomes for them. And I don't think that's going to happen. I think Oklahoma just got they had a little bit of humble pie playing Kansas. I would say that. The thing that scares me about Oklahoma is that they are looking at the bye that I think they desperately need. They need a break. They've had a lot of big games, and I think they desperately need this break. I'm wary about this number of 19.5, but I'm going to go Oklahoma to win, and I'm actually going to take the points as well. Texas Tech has not proved it, and it's difficult. Listen, get coached the day before your biggest game.
It's difficult. And like, I think with you, the bye is coming, and I would say the players know to keep the coaches off their backs. If they want it to be a miserable 2 weeks,
that's a very good point.
They better kick some ass here in this little game right here. All right. This one is just a disgusting football game. 2:30 on ESPNU, TCU at Kansas State. The number is also disgusting too. You know me. I have been, and this channel knows too. I've been on the train of the Gary Patterson age is heading one way up. It's never good. Well, it's fine if you're winning. He is not, and the results are heading this way. It was capped last week by a horrific showing at home. And now they go on the road, and Kansas State's got some momentum after stealing a win right there. They seem focused. They could get to 8 wins, I think, this year. It's not out of the question for Kansas State to get to 8 wins. We have to slow down this TCU offense. And so the two things that I know in this game, I think we're going to see a lot of the backs, Deuce Vaughn, a lot of Zach Evans, who has had a weird week this week. Then we're going to see a lot of purple. Those are the three things I think we know 100% we're going to see. I have a weird pick here. I'm going to go TCU plus the 3.5. I think Kansas State wins.
Whoa.
I think Kansas State wins the game. I think it's by a narrow margin, and I think TCU fans, their agony continues. I think TCU is so talented where they can keep it close with a team like Kansas State. I think Kansas State is a better, more organized football team, and so I think they get the win in the very end of the game. But I think it's like a 2 or 3 point game. I know it's a very niche, small window here. But in all of this, I'm taking TCU plus the 3.5, as much as I've crushed them this week.
I know people here, they probably listen to me like, why you relate everything to Michigan State? Well, that's just like what I know. I relate to things I know. Michigan State under Mark D'Antonio was the best I've ever had as a fan. The best. We went to the college football playoff. We beat Michigan a bunch. We beat Ohio State. We won Big Ten champions. That's the best I'll ever get. At the end of it, I wanted him gone so bad. I was just like, thank you for your service. You've made me the happiest person in the entire world. But can you please go? And he did. And I will remember Mark D'Antonio forever as the person who saved my program, the person who gave me so many great memories. I think if you're a TCU fan, you're probably reaching this stage right now. Just like, thank you so much. But when I look at this program now, I don't see anything positive. I don't know how this can go into a direction where they are competing for Big 12 championships again. I don't. I think Max Duggan's the best quarterback they have since Andy Dalton, and he's almost on his way out. I don't know if they can get a better quarterback than him in the near future. I just don't understand, if you're a TCU fan, how you can fully believe in Gary Patterson. And right now, I don't think there are any people who believe in him moving forward. And I think that's just very true. And they will have the statue. You will have Gary Patterson.
Already does.
Have that forever. Yeah, like they have the statue. Like, just remember him for the good times, ride this year out, and then just like someone needs to make a decision, a really tough decision, and it has to be Gary Patterson. If Gary Patterson keeps dragging this thing out, people are going to actually start to hate him. Like, please get out. Mark D'Antonio resigned. It was the best thing he could have ever done because he cemented his legacy at Michigan State. And for this game, TCU has shown me nothing to be excited about this year. Offensively, they're sweet. Zach Evans is sweet. Max Duggan's one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Johnson's been awesome.
They're on the wrong team. Their defense stinks. Kansas State has shown they can run the ball. They have a good quarterback in Skylar Thompson, who's playing one of his last 5 games in college. This is a hungry team, and I think they're a well-coached team. When I watch Chris Kleiman, I think well-coached. I think TCU is going to lose. I think Kansas State's going to win. And also, those fans in Manhattan, ooh, lovely.
Yes, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a good atmosphere. It's gonna be fun. I think you're right on. I think the way it was described to me by the Locked On Horned Frogs host is that, well, in addition to Gary Patterson blocking him on Twitter, that the boosters are hopeful that he can make it 2023, and that's the end of his contract. Gary, like all competitive people, I do not fault him at all, and I've made this analogy a bunch, Robbie, but in the combat sports game, a lot of old fighters try to convince you that they're still in the fight, that they feel the best they ever have, that they are, still, they can still reach the top of the game that you might have saw 5 years ago in them. Gary is telling us that. Gary's telling everybody, I am the guy to do it. Here is the important thing to note. Just because he got you to where you are and he set the standard does not mean you have to accept him not meeting his own standard. That's the problem I have. And that's the thing is, people have said it to us on the show, like, well, he built that thing. Yeah, he did an excellent job. And he's done he's one of the winningest coaches. He's going to be in the College Football Hall of Fame. I mean, what coach has taken a program from those steps, from WAC to Mountain West to Big 12, and has competed in damn near for a national title and winning 10 plus games at all those places? Very few. I'm not sure. I actually can't name any other ones. It might be, but I can't think of any other ones. They're so far away from that, and they're in a good location. They're in the Metroplex. They've got a chance. That's my thought on this. I think Gary Patterson is a classic shot fighter. We see it a million times. He'll try to convince us. Anything else before we move on?
No, I agree with what you say. And it's just like every time I watch Conor McGregor fight, I'm just like, can you not? Like,
right.
I'm just
right. And he's like the beginning stages of it too. It's like Gary might be like Conor McGregor in like 3 more fights where it's like, I can do it. And you're like, no, God, no, please.
Please,
no.
I don't want to see that leg broken again. Please.
No, we don't have to watch it. All right, final game of the day, 6 p.m. FS1, Kansas at Oklahoma State. Awesome stuff from Kansas last week. Here's the problem is that stuff doesn't work against Oklahoma State because they're really good at tackling. They might not be the most athletic team in the world, but when they get hands on you, you will go down. And there's not many bones about it. That is how Oklahoma State operates and works on the defensive side. They get after you. They rush the quarterback. Jason Bean is going to be in some duress. And so he might have a couple big plays, but I don't think anything with that consistent wave of pressure. Like, I'm going to lay the points here. I don't necessarily think it's if Kansas gets blown out, like let's see how they look, because Oklahoma State's a really good football team coming off of an awful loss that they could have, in a game they easily could have won. That the loss was no fault of theirs. I mean, they could have played better, sure, whatever. But like they went toe to toe with a good team as 7-point dogs on the road in a spot costing the game. They're going to try to murder Kansas this week. That is going to be their goal.
The one thing I'm looking at Oklahoma State's record, and I'm like, okay, well, let's see how many points did they score. All right, the most points they've scored in a game this year is 32, and this line is currently 30.5. I don't understand why Oklahoma State is a great defense. It really could just be Oklahoma State scores 35 points and Kansas scores nothing. That would be it. But I don't see Oklahoma State as this high-powered offense that just scores points all the time. I don't think that's their nature. I think they're a physical group, and I think Kansas will cover. I think Oklahoma State's going to win at home, homecoming, rowdy. But there's no way that 30.5 points. Are you kidding me? Oklahoma State, I just want to look at the most they've won by this year, and it looks like 10. Looks like 10,
yeah.
10 or 11. I understand it's Kansas, but like 30.5, It's the most outrageous number I've ever seen.
I'm going to go the other way on this, and here's why. They played their best offensive game last week. They're mad. They're coming off a loss. They're at home. It's at night. Like, you're totally right. You're totally right. But Kansas so let's just look at them as a property in terms of like spreads. They barely ever cover.
1-6 on the year.
Yes. So the idea they cover back-to-back weeks against two of the best teams of the conference, this one being on the road, that's where I'm going against you. Now, everything you say makes sense. I'm going to go with the bet. Now, like, I'm not going to say it's going to – this might come down to the wire, I think. This might come down to the wire. I think 41-7 is going to be my final score. 41-7. I think Oklahoma State wins.
That's good. I mean, I'm proud of Kansas. Like, we talked to Lance Leipold this week. I think he's the guy for that.
Yeah.
And the fact that they are competing and they try hard and they have effort and you're 1-6, I mean, like, that's the sign of a good coach that, like, hey, let's not win on, like, we can try and win on the field, but let's take our wins in different places. And I think they're doing a great job. So shout out Lance Leipold. Oklahoma State's going to roll.
Yeah, they're probably going to go. All right, let's get to these. We're going to do 3 games real quickly here, just kind of looking at them. Cincinnati -26 against Tulane on the road. I think embarrassing a team that Oklahoma only beat by 5 might be a good look. What do you think?
100%. Tulane has really shown not to be the best this year in terms of record. Can't believe Cincinnati is number 2 and they're coming to the Big 12. You're Bob Bowlesby. You're just like, yes.
Well, we're fine.
Stay, Luke Fickell, stay. Luke Fickell, stay. Don't go anywhere.
I think he's saying James Franklin, please stay, because that's right. Probably the first call if your Penn State is which,
like, Luke Fickell, I need you here.
Yes.
I will give you money.
What are your thoughts on the style of points thing, where it's like Cincinnati has to win with style of points? I don't believe that, because Oklahoma right now, to me, it should be a top 4 team. They have a bunch of wins by, like, Nebraska is not going to make a bowl game probably. They beat them by 1 score. Tulane, not going to be in a bowl game, beat them by 1 score. West Virginia might not be in a bowl game, beat them by 1 score. Like, I don't actually, is Oklahoma a great team? No, they're not. But are they winning all their games? They 8-0? Yes, they are. Cincinnati's beaten Notre Dame on the road. They beat Indiana by double digits on the road. They housed a couple other teams. If they go undefeated, that means they'll have beaten SMU twice probably. If that's their resume, then I'm totally fine with them being in. What do you think about the style points thing?
Yes and no. I think if they are undefeated, they should be in. I think they should definitely be the conversation. I don't think it hurts if they have all these style points in, because then I think it doesn't put that in the conversation. If you say they've rolled their schedule, they've beaten everyone, I think that helps their conversation a lot more than, oh, well, that's the, like, you're just going to hear Kirk Herbstreit every Tuesday night saying this, and it's just going to be annoying. So I think Cincinnati needs to roll, but them being right now number 2 team, it's going to be nice, but we'll see on Tuesday. But I think they roll Tulane.
I hope Reese Davis is always very snappy with whoever the committee head is. It might still be Gary Barta, I'm not sure, but I want that to happen so Reese Davis can be angry. We like that when it happens. It's hilarious. All right, just going to touch on this game real fast. UCF had a nice win last week. I want Gus Malzahn to be in a power conference again, so I'm just hoping those things continue. Also, 6 o'clock on ESPN2, SMU versus Houston, which is an awesome game. SMU may be saying, hey, we should be the team that should have been let in the Big 12. Their coach may be saying, hey, I'm going to jump to the Big 12 here pretty soon. Maybe not. Maybe he likes his job at SMU. We'll see what happens here. But, Robbie, this game is really intriguing. I mean, SMU is the least talked about undefeated team in all of college football, in my opinion. I think UTSA has been getting more press than SMU has.
No, 100%. I think it's a really underrated game in this entire slate. I know the slate is loaded, but this is on ESPN2.
I'll be watching this over the Penn State game for sure.
I don't care about that game at all. I think this game is awesome. This game is absolutely awesome. And Sonny Dykes, I think Texas Tech would love to have you. But Houston, I mean, can't believe their only loss is to Texas Tech and that coach got fired. Like, what is going on? But welcome to the Big 12, Houston. I mean, 4-0 in that conference, 6-1 overall. My God. Shout out Houston. Yeah. But this is gonna be a good game. I don't even have a winner. I'm just want to watch and enjoy.
Yeah, I think it's going to be it's going to be an offensive game, a lot of points, so enjoy that. All right, the Saturday 7, Robbie, guess where it begins? Michigan State. This is the game where I think Mel Tucker puts the foot down and says, LSU, if you're going to come get somebody, I'm sorry to tell you this, it's got to be me, because everybody's been talking about this, but the way he's done things, he has a very much and I won't let everybody else interpret this and how they want to. He's got a very much an SEC mentality that he has brought to Michigan State. Once again, interpret that how you will. Watching, I'll take the +4 at home, and two teams that don't really move the ball very well. It's about who's going to hit more explosive plays, and I'm just going to say Michigan State at home hits more explosive plays. 1 or 2 will win this game, I think, and I'll take Michigan State.
This is going to be a physical game of football, and I trust Kenneth Murray more of Michigan State in this situation. And you talk about big plays. Michigan State has a big play quarterback, Peyton Thorne. He is an absolute beast. Jalen Naylor is an absolute beast at wide receiver. I loved what I saw last year, and one of the ugliest teams ever, Michigan State. Those were both really down years for both programs, and Michigan State won this. Mel Tucker has his program in my program in the right direction, and I think Michigan State's a really good team. Michigan makes me nervous, but in terms of my fandom, I could go another hour, so I'm going to keep it short. I could go another hour, and this is the most important matchup in my lifetime of these two teams. I'm 25 years old. I've been a Michigan State fan since I was born. This is the most important, the most geeked I've ever been about this matchup ever, because these both programs have, like, since 2000, I think it's 2010, this is the first time they've played since undefeated. Like, both of the teams undefeated. This is an unbelievable matchup. This has legitimate college football playoff implications, because if one of these teams win and they stay undefeated and they go to the Big Ten title game and they win, they should be in. This has huge implications.
Who's calling this game? Is it Sean McDonough again?
It is on Fox. This is a Joel Klatt game.
Oh, it's a Fox. It's right. This is a Fox game. Yeah, that's sad. It makes me sad that.
Yeah, well, some inside baseball. The reason this is at noon is because the kids at Michigan State get too drunk at night. So after the trouble on the snap play, he's got that they had to make it a noon game because too many kids got arrested and drunk.
That's fair. That's fair. Fair play to them. All right, another game that's going to be happening at the same time. Dear God, this game is going to suck. Iowa at Wisconsin. Another weird case of a team being a underdog on the road, as a top 10 team. I want to take Iowa because Wisconsin's made a ton of mistakes this year, and Iowa has made their calling card off of capitalizing off of a ton of mistakes. So Graham Mertz against an opportunistic defense. Sign me up for the defense. I'll take Iowa.
So I love our friend Stats of War, Parker Fleming. He currently does a lot of projections of stats, and I saw this earlier this week and it made me want to throw up. Projected points for Wisconsin, 13. Projected points for Iowa, 8.
Do you know what the over is? The over 36.5. It is 36.5.
This is going to be a 21-point game projected. Oh, my God. That's a lot of punting. If you love punting, this is the game. But physical Big Ten football, this is masterclass in that. I'm going Iowa here.
All right, number 3. I don't know why people are against calling it the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. I think it's like, I don't know what the stigma all of a sudden has been against it. Anyway, Georgia, 14-point favorites in Jacksonville this week against the Gators. Dan Mullen, known as a big game coach. I'm actually going to take the points here, especially because I think they can hit some big plays. I know how good Georgia's defense is. I know. I'm not saying they win the game. I just think 14. This number was 14.5. If it goes above 2 touchdowns, take it, because I can see this game being like 28-14 or 21-7. So take that. If Kentucky can make enough happen to cover, I know Florida's defense isn't that good. If Kentucky can make enough happen to cover, in between the hedges, I think Florida can too. Just look at the quarterback situation, right? Both these teams. I mean, we might see 4 quarterbacks in this game, Robbie. We might see Stetson Bennett. We might see JT Daniels. We're definitely going to see Emory Jones, and we're definitely going to see Anthony Richardson. It sounds like Dan Mullen's having a really difficult time deciding on the quarterback who should be moving forward. So I'll take Florida plus the points. It's a lot of points, neutral site game, and a big game too.
Yeah, I think any game where it's this type of rivalry, 14 points is a ridiculous amount. Yeah, I'm going to take the points, but Georgia is really looking the part this year, and I don't think we'll ever have a conversation or should they be in the college football playoff. I think Georgia's going to be consistently in that till they make the final decision. So Georgia to win, Florida to cover.
Clemson, Florida State. This game feels odd and disgusting. I'll take Florida State plus 9.5 points. Clemson can't score.
Yeah, Clemson has a similar QB situation with Oklahoma, except Oklahoma has a much better guy.
Yeah.
So So, yeah, I don't like Clemson. Give me Florida State. I don't like either of these teams. Gross.
All right, this game is going to be awesome. Ole Miss against Auburn. Brian Harsin might be on his way to pulling a Nick Rolovich. We'll see if that happens, which is pretty sad because the team is actually pretty decent and he's done a not bad job. But he hates vaccines. So Ole Miss plus the points here. Matt Corral's great. I think he's still banged up, whatever. But if you're going to put Bo Nix, this could be some Bo Nix magic, whatever. No. Look, I think DJ Durkin's defense is going to be good enough to pull off a couple stops here. And this won't be an Auburn LSU situation. Like, that game was a lot of fun, but in retrospect, how bad is LSU now? Ole Miss is better than that. Probably on both sides of the ball, they're a little better than that too. So I like Ole Miss in this situation. They're getting 2.5 on the road, and also the best quarterback in the country for my money is getting 2.5 points, and I'll take that all the time.
Nope, I agree with you there. Another point too. When did Lane Kiffin just become the super likable guy? It seems like everyone is just, I love Lane Kiffin now. It's like, when did this happen? I feel like for a while everyone was dunking on him, and now it's like, oh, it's this cute little story. It's just interesting. But yeah, give me Ole Miss.
Yeah, I mean, he might piss off every single SEC program if he goes to LSU. He'll have Tennessee mad at him. He'll have Alabama mad at him. He'll obviously have Ole Miss mad at him at that point. So that'd be very interesting. We did Penn State, Ohio State. Two things here. Number one, Ohio State's been killing teams. Number two, they haven't been very good teams. So I'm hesitant on the 19. That being said, it's Ohio State. They're at home, and Sean Clifford's been and they can't run the ball either. And that's actually Ohio State's kind of weak point on defense. It's been the run defense this year. So I'm going to go with Ohio State. I'll lay the 19 in this game. I think it's kind of one of those games that ends up being not very close in the end.
Yep, I'm going Ohio State. Penn State, I hope you have your coach by the end of the year. I mean, it's not looking great right now.
He seems super focused in the matchup, Robbie.
Yeah,
he seems laser focused on what's ahead of him.
Yeah, he's definitely come out and said, I don't want to take any of these questions. I'm focused on it. No, he's definitely done that. Wink, wink. It's incredible.
He should have been more like Mike Tomlin. He should have been more like Mike Tomlin. Two coaches, same state, much different responses to situations going on with them.
Correct.
All right. Last game. I say this one out of the teams. Some of you might be saying, oh, we're with BYU. Here they are, friends. The Bronco Bowl. Bronco Mendenhall, the UVA head coach, is returning to BYU to face off against the Cougars. Brennan Armstrong has been one of the best quarterbacks in the country this year. This should be hopefully a high scoring. If I know BYU's games are typically a little bit more low scoring, I'm going to take UVA plus the points on the road. I think they're actually a really fun, good team. And I think Bronco, in his return in the raucous atmosphere, helps them get a win.
I'm team Big 12. I have to go BYU here, even though if Baylor kind of made me, go, is this team really that good? So I'm taking BYU here just because I love the Big 12.
All right, Robbie Triano, I know you got a show to get ready for here. I took way too much of your time. Where can people find you and your work?
Big 12 Radio, Sirius XM, channel 375. Here's the Twitter down below. You may not want to follow me this weekend because it's Halloween weekend and also Michigan State, so I might just be blabbering. So on Monday, follow my takes.
All right, Robbie Triano, we appreciate your time as always, sir.
Thank you, man.